Welcome back. You're tuned in to the Big C. Well, shifting focus to the cryptocurrency space, it's almost been a year since crypto exchange WazirX was hacked, spurring losses of around $238 million in investor funds. The exchange ceased to operate soon after. WazirX, in fact, has been reorganizing operations under a Singapore-based entity. There have also been reports of WazirX moving funds from Bybit. The last year has been litigation, court hearings, funds stuck, and lost opportunities. Manisha Gupta caught up with industry experts Chirayu of 9 Point Capital, digital payments expert Sanjay Saxena, and India Tech ORG CEO and President Mr. Ramesh to take stock of all that's unfolded in the year gone by. Let's listen in to that conversation.
The last 1 year has more or less been like knocking on closed doors because I personally have tried approaching various authorities, various courts. Anyone who wants to hear me on this matter, seek cognizance of the same. I am personally an investor in the cryptocurrencies market in the VDAs since 2021. And I was a firm believer in this one coin called XRP. This coin has now gone up 600% in price. What WazirX is now doing is, there were two types of tokens, hacked and unhacked. My coins were not hacked. There were coins which were hacked. For example, Ethereum and Shiba Inu. XRP has gone up 600% in price. Ethereum and Shiba Inu are still at the price at which they were 4 years ago. WazirX is now in a conundrum. What has happened is no doubt very unfortunate. WazirX is now using funds from other users to pay the users who got their tokens hacked. This is something which I personally see as a violation of my fundamental rights because they are socializing their losses. It is the onus of the reserve. 2 weeks ago, CoinDCX got hacked for $41 million. Within 17 to 24 hours, not only did they resolve the entire thing, but also made sure that any person who was an aggrieved party could withdraw their assets and could take the more money and move to another exchange if they wanted to. It's been a year. We are now fighting this in Singapore. WazirX since 2017 was carrying out its operations in India. Most of its customers are Indians. They are registered with the Financial Intelligence Unit in India. Why have they gone to Singapore? Right?
So, I get your point here, but let me come to you, Mr. Saxena. And you look at digital payments, and with the way things have really worked out and everything that Chirayu put out, I'll add one more to it, that is that the refunds perhaps are happening in rupees and not in crypto. So that is where another loss perhaps comes into these investors there. How have you read it all, and what is the solution that you would want to put forth?
Thank you, Manisha, for having me on this. Let me tell you the current resolution. It leaves many questions unanswered, rather providing a solution to the beleaguered investors or platform users. To cite few such, without going much into the detail, to cite few such examples, there is no clarity as of who is the owner, where the ownership lies of the cryptocurrency on WazirX, to whom it belongs, whether it belongs to Binance, ZI, or the users as an unsecured creditor. There is, I generally say, clarity in the currency. Clarity is the currency in the digital ecosystem, and much more when we dealt with the VDA. In the proposed resolution, the funny part is in the proposed resolution, it is the majority or the 75% of the voting, those who vote, not the total, the creditor which represent, unlike in the NCLT resolutions, where the committee of creditors, 2/3 of the total have to vote in favor of the resolution. There is nothing such as such in this case. So my point is, there are many operational issues and the unresolved questions which is not there in the proposed in the resolution plan. And in fact, the current plan doesn't respect, if I have to say, the user's asset right. This is not a mutual fund. Crypto asset class need regulatory fairness. This is what I want to say.
Mr. Kailasam, interestingly, Mr. Saxena also talked about NCLT here. Now, we are talking about an area where it's more about KYCs, the regulatory authority, grievances, etc. is not there. What's your sense? What is the solution that you see, even after a year, where we are still looking at third-party audits, where we are still looking at some accountability?
Well, I think hearing both the panelists, I think one thing is pretty clear. that there is a need for guidelines and standards in digital asset resolution per se. Investors are raising these concerns, and that also signals that there is a need for maturity in these areas from a governance standpoint. The observation that there is growing need for all of this signals the need for I would say, a standard or something of that sort to be built in the digital asset resolution process. Investor concerns about resolution refer to clear procedures for handling things like insolvencies, asset recoveries, dispute resolution, and overall legal certainty in the event that we are supposedly facing such issues. And regulators worldwide are grappling with this and refining the frameworks quickly on digital assets. For example, jurisdictions are already implementing what is called digital asset resolution packages, DARP, to address insolvency scenarios. In essence, investors are also raising concerns about resolution standard and so on. That also signals the fact that investors are not here just for high returns, but also foundational elements of a well-functioning and secure financial market in the virtual digital asset space. And there were examples given on how quickly one exchange was able to resolve versus other which wasn't able to. And this is, I think, a critical step which India needs to take towards digital assets being fully integrated. Investor, I would say, rights and the methodology being clear-cut laid out from a what you call a governance standpoint.
Let me come to each one of you very quickly as a one-point agenda. If something that needs to be done right now, what that should be. And Chirayu, let me come to you first. What is the solution, one-point solution that you see on this?
WazirX should be liquidated. WazirX is allocating funds in different jurisdictions for lawyers as well as the recovery of funds. In the latest affidavit, they have written, we want to spend millions of dollars to fight North Korean hackers. You are telling me Nishal Shetty is trying to take on Kim Jong-un. They have conducted thousands of hacks. None of them have ever been traced. Nishal Shetty has allocated a budget which is north of $50 million for recovery of these funds. They're never coming back. Rather put these funds to better use. So the only solution is liquidation of the company.
Okay, I hear that word. Mr. Kailasam, what do you think is the solution right now?
Well, I think the solution is that investors need to have this clarity. Investors, I mean, whatever schemes are being put to court have to be tested out. I mean, it has to be in the most transparent manner. I think it has been called out in the court multiple times. The fact that whatever has been offered is going through a grind is synonymous of that. But at the same time, I think Indian investors who are most affected in this needs to have a voice to raise such concerns. And I think it is also important that government of India needs to step in and say, this is Indian investors and we need to have a framework and a protection mechanism that can be taken up in courts, because
in the country itself.
When a battle is being fought outside the jurisdiction, the likelihood of investors having the wherewithal to go represent and make the case for themselves becomes limited or stunted to some extent. And I think that legal firepower has to be given in some form for investor protection.
Mr. Saxena, your final word on this?
Yeah, I agree with my co-panelists. See, there is a very limited access to the investors in India, and any resolution to revamp, to revive this with a lot of operational and other ambiguity looks to be very difficult. So, without any further loss to the investor, my suggestion is immediately this should be referred to the NCLT. Besides that, some forensic audit and other measures be taken to fix the responsibility, so that I think there is no other way out to in the interest of the investor. They should get immediately what is left over.
So liquidation to NCLT, to coming out with strong regulations and legally enforcing those regulations, as well as few of the things that our panelists are telling us on what really can be a recourse for what has been happening for the last 1 year as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining and appreciate your time.